Hello, my beautiful darlings. This is not a tarot or astrology reading. This is just simply life advice. Let me just start by saying I am not a licensed professional. I'm not a psychologist. I did not go to college to become a psychologist. I do have a college degree in dental hygiene. So if you want to consult about periodontal disease, I'm still a registered dental hygienist. I do have a license in the state of Illinois. I have passed my boards, and I was in practice for 25 years. So I still have my license. I can still answer questions about flossing and brushing and toothpaste if you so choose, and treatment options. But also I'm not allowed to diagnose things. Thank you. Which is one of the reasons why I left the practice. Anyway, I digress. This morning I had posted on my Facebook and Instagram account about a certain question that really changed the dynamic of my dating practice. And I say practice because when I got a divorce in 2021. I left the house in 2020. I ended up buying my house in 2020. My divorce was final in 2021. And I started dating when I left the house. And I had already began my healing process before I left the home. And I was, crazy enough, we were together during the stay-at-home, and we weren't together, but we were still living together. We had already been separated emotionally and physically for many years. And during that time, I really chose to dig really deep into, I'm not going to buy a house and then, find somebody and then, all of a sudden have somebody move in. I didn't want to get involved with the same man, but a different face. And so I started the healing process of okay, what are the things that I like to do by myself? What are the things that make me feel good? What are the things, who are my friends? Who am I hanging around with? And I will say, I had to adjust friendships too, because, when you get a divorce, not that my friends were necessarily friends with my spouse, but my friends were used to being married and really married. So all of a sudden I'm single. The dynamic changed. And so I really had to kind of figure out my circle. And so when I went into the process of dating, not only was I trying to find, so my point of all of this is make sure that you are strong in who you are before, if you have been married for a long time, before you dip your toe in the dating game, because it's not for the weak at heart at all. And once you feel like you've got your mind right, you've got your spiritual practice in order, which I think is very, very important, and then your physical practice, which is also part of your spiritual practice, and your business practice, when all of that is said and done, then it's time for you to and I honestly, 6 months. I think, 6 months is when you can start, but the healing process, it's not linear. It is forward and backward. But you need to be incredibly self-aware before you start stepping into the dating pool. Now, I knew going into each date that I wanted to be very intentional. And I wanted to, as a mother, I know that I set the tone. And as a woman, I set the tone in my home. When I wake up, whatever mood I'm in, is what the kids are going to feel, right? So I kind of took on that practice when I was going into dating, and I wanted to be very clear about my role as a woman in a dating relationship. I was very, very used to being the person that planned everything, that had all the ideas, that did all the special things, that took time and notice and effort. And I did not have someone reciprocate that. And it was basically because in all of my control measures, I basically emasculated him and didn't allow him to really come forward. So now that here I am forward, I did not want to do that with every man that I dated. I wanted to be very intentional. And so I did meet men on dating apps. I used Bumble. I used Match. I used, what else did I use? Match was not fun. Tinder was not fun. Tinder was a lot of like fake accounts. Bumble was my happy place. And basically, after I decided that, because I wouldn't spend a lot of time chatting, I would go directly to a video chat to make sure that maybe I wanted to spend time with this person and make sure the energy matched on the profile versus the, pictures. Once I had the video chat, I would know intuitively, was this someone that I would like to spend some time with and try, or was this a no-go? There were a few men, I know there was a widow in particular that I just knew I wasn't ready for that, and he certainly wasn't ready for me, and I knew it wasn't a good match. There was another man that ate an entire meal on the phone conversation, so that was fun. I knew that was an immediate no. And that one is in the beginning where I just kept talking, and I'm like, why aren't you getting off of this? This is dumb. Like, this is not your person. But I finally ended up matching with someone, and I decided, okay. And he said, and I still ask this question of him to this day. I said, I really like this restaurant over here. Would you take me there? Absolutely. And I feel like when you ask that question, which we've been together almost 2 years, maybe 18 months. When I still ask that question, it presents a role to him. It gives him an idea of what I like and what I desire. And the men are hunters and foragers. So they're going to want to go and get, okay, yes, ma'am, I'm going to go and get whatever it is that you desire. Because I want you to be happy. I want to please you. And they do. And I think even in a relationship where you've been together for years, and maybe you have been the person that's been running the show, because I will say, since society has kind of pressed that upon us as you got to go to work, you got to make the money, you got to be the sex goddess, you got to be all those things. But, oh, by the way, and you need to but then you have to allow your husband to do all the stuff too. It just doesn't work out. It just doesn't. So I believe that if you can ask that question, start there. And if they can respond in the manner of which you like, that is the start of a beautiful dipping your toe into the pool. Because again, when you say, they are not mind readers. They really aren't. Even if they know your favorite restaurant or whatever, maybe you want to go somewhere else that day. But if you say, would you take me? Then that prompts them to ask questions. What time do you get off? What time do you think you'll be ready? Do you need to go home and freshen up? Do you want me to pick you up, or do you want me to meet me it's like a catalyst. You send that energy out, they receive it, and they're like, whoa, she likes me. Okay, this is the things that I can do. So even to this day, it's very easy for us to become complacent because we are so comfortable, and we could end up sitting on the couch and not doing anything. But if I say, would you take me? Then that creates the catalyst to a wonderful date. Now, he still to this day will pick out things and go, hey, would you like to go? And I'll say, yes, I would love it if you took me there. But there is something about that phrase that enables them to take the lead and go, oh, okay, yes, this is what I want to do. So I encourage you to try it. Leave it in the comments. Let me know how it goes. It could be a total disaster because I definitely asked some men to do it, and they were like, yeah, sure. And then it became a litany of questions that they just couldn't even pull together. They couldn't even pull a simple date together, a first date. So yeah. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear whether you're in a relationship or if you're just starting out dating, I would love to hear, your experience in asking, would you take me? All right, I'll talk to you later. Toodaloo.